crazy is this? I'm in Vegas, I just had breakfast, and they're saying that 20% of a $141 check is $40. This is how they scam you in Vegas.
Yeah, welcome back in the channel. Today we're gonna talk about tipping scams, and we're gonna talk about it from the restaurant's point of view, from how they are trying to take money out of our pockets to make them more profit. These clips from TikTok and social media are absolutely crazy because it's not just somebody claiming it happened, it's actual video of their receipts showing these restaurants trying to get away with little nickel and dime scams that if you don't catch it, they'll make an extra $3, $4, $5, or $10 off of you times thousands of customers. This is shady, and if you catch a restaurant doing this, make a big scene and call them out for it.
How crazy is this? I'm in Vegas, I just had breakfast, and they're saying that 20% of a $141 check is $40. This is how they scam you in Vegas. Next time you come here, make sure that you look at your receipts. Always check the receipts.
All right, so real quick, just pausing it so you guys can take a look. His check is $131 plus it looks like the tax brought it to $141.97. Gratuity and tip not included. And so on 141, quick math, 10% tells you 14, 20% tells you $28. But if you look down at the 20%, it says it's $40. So he left 28, which was 20%. Now I am gonna be fully transparent with you. If we go up to the top of this screen here and we look at the date was August 2nd, 2025, so this just happened, but right under that it says seat number 2, receipt 2 of 2. So there was a first receipt, total guests 4, right? So this is 2 people because we have a coffee and an espresso martini, we have a French toast and a side of bacon, and we have a steak and eggs with some kind of garden something here. So 2 meals, 2 drinks. These were 2 people, there was 2 others. So what this restaurant has done, which is still scamming, because a lot of people are gonna comment and say, oh no, you didn't read it right. No, I did. Is his total is 141. The 20% should be based on this 141. What it means is 20% of the total 2 tabs. So the other tab, in order to equal $40 on 20%, if his tab had been, say, $200, well, 10% is 20 and 20% is 40. So this ticket, this 20% suggested, is based on a $200 tab, meaning the people he was with in seat 1 and 2 must not have eaten a lot because their bill was only $59 total after tax, so about $50 before tax. So they probably just had 1 meal and 1 drink or something. But you shouldn't base this 20% on this entire 2 checks. It should only be based on the check that it is on. Since you were able to split the seat totals and the seat subtotals into checks, they're split, the tip should be suggestedly split as well. If not, you are being deceptive because the tip he owes on 20% is $28, right? Maybe $29. This is $11 to $12 higher. Well, you're telling me over on the other guy's tab, it's gonna say 59? Well, his 20% on his, let's just say it was a $60 tab. His 20% on 60 should be $12. Does his also say 20%, $40? Because if his says 20%, $12, and they were able to split that, then they certainly could have done it over here and chose not to try to get a few extra dollars. It's not just Vegas. You're gonna see in the rest of this video that lots of places do it. Let's move on.
Let's take a look at this receipt I got yesterday. So $5.66 plus 0 for service charge plus 34 cents equals 6. And my total is somehow $7.20. There's no gratuity or whatever. So I got 2 fountain drinks to go as your total $6. I hand her my credit card. She walks off to the side to swipe it, and I can see the screen and it says $7.20. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, that seems like a lot for like tax or something. And she goes, do you want a receipt? I said, yeah. So I grab my receipt and then I go to the bathroom. I add that up to make sure it does equal 6, and then I'm not just stupid, which it does. And then I also realized that $1.20, which was what I was overcharged, is 20%. So then I go back, I ask her, was there a tip added to this? And she said, no, there's a 20% service fee on credit cards. So
Credit cards have a 3% credit card fee, generally, maybe 3.5%. 20%? No, you're gonna find out what happened right now.
Charge $0. So then I'm like, oh, like, that would have been nice to know before I handed you my credit card, because I would have rather just paid in cash and saved my $1.20 for a credit card fee, but like, question mark. And she goes, okay, this is what gets me. Okay, do you want me to refund the tip? And I'm like, you just told me it wasn't a tip. Anyway, so I say, yeah. She gets her little cash drawer and ends up giving me $2 because she didn't have change. But that just tells me she's guilty, because why would you give me 80 extra cents if you're not wrong? So either I think she accidentally hit the 20% tip button or tried to pull a fast one on me, because it was one of the little machines that like spins around, but she like had to go off to the side, so I wasn't over there to like do anything. And I also didn't get a receipt to sign anything until I asked for it. So this makes me hate tipping, which I already hate tipping unless I'm like at a sit down restaurant. But like, am I wrong? Am I stupid? Okay.
No, she tried to get away with a 20% tip without you knowing it and didn't think you would notice. And if people ever call her out on it, she just says it's a surcharge. But if you have half a brain and somebody tells you it's a surcharge for the credit card fee at 20%, you know better and you busted her. People are scamming and scheming any way they possibly can, man. Desperate times, desperate measures, and people are doing it between our EBT scams and buying stuff that you're not supposed to, or the tipping scams, or anything else that we're covering on this channel, man. This is why you got to get into a world of entrepreneurship and earning money and selling and buying and investing and doing everything that you can to legally and honestly and morally make your money correctly to pay your bills. Otherwise, you're just a bad person. You're just not doing good for anybody. You're not helping anybody, and you're certainly not helping yourself.
Y'all check your receipts when you go to a restaurant. Let me show you something. Now, I'm covering up my card information so nobody steals my junk, but you see that total, $43.29 tip, and then the suggested amounts, 18%, 20%, 25%.
All right, real quick, guys, do our math. $43.29, quickest way to do it. 10% is $44.32. Doubled is $8.65. 20% should be $8.65. We quickly look, it is $13.25 higher.
Those numbers don't look right to me. Maybe it's because I actually know math pretty quickly off the top of my head. But how many people just look at that and then just write down whatever's on there? That's why you got to check your receipts. 43.29 times 0.2, which is 20%, is $8.65. That's not what 20% is showing on here. They were trying to get an extra $5 out of me. I'm not cheap. I just don't like dishonesty. Check your receipts before you write out your tips.
Yes, exactly. I love that he said that. It's not being cheap. We're not being penny pinchers. And it's not because we can't afford to go out. The difference in writing out a $51 final total versus a $55 final total is not going to usually crush too many people. It's the dishonesty, it's the scamming, it's the scheming, it's the trying to pull the wool over your eyes, trying to get one over on you. I hate that. I don't care if you're trying to pull one on me over $5 or $500 or $5,000. Look, if you just need an extra $5, generally if you ask me, not every person I walk past on the street or who watches these videos starts asking me for $5, but generally if somebody actually needs $5 to get gas or something, $10, I'm happy to help you out. If it's a legitimate reason, you're honest, you're straightforward with me, I give you $5 or $10, right? But you try scamming me out of $5 or $10, I'm gonna be way more upset than if you dishonestly tell me you need 500 and make up a reason. If you just try to scam me out of it, way more problems with me. $5, I don't care. $5, $500, or $5,000, we have a problem. Like, just do not do it. Do not try to lie to me. Just come to me and say, hey, look, man, I need $50. This is what's going on. This is what I got going on. And we'll talk about it. But if you scam it from me, we got problems. This guy is gonna talk about those credit card fees, and this is actually very interesting information, and I've confirmed that in most states, I know there's some states that might be a little different, but this is a fact. Watch this, and this will help you out with these.
Do not eat out again until you know this scam. Hi, waiter. I'm ready for the check. Of course. Here you go. What is this 3% surcharge? And does it go towards the tip? No, you should still leave a tip. It's just a random fee put there to make you give us more money. Restaurants have started to charge customers a random 3% junk fee. And get this, it doesn't go towards the tip. But here is how you can get it removed. I didn't agree to the surcharge. Can you please remove the junk fee off of my check? I'm not sure, but I can ask my manager. Thank you. I just asked my manager and he said that we could waive the fee because you're being a Karen. Actually, it's because you are legally required to remove the fee every time a customer asks.
Okay, so as far as I know, being able to ask for the 3% fee to get removed off of a tab from what I could find on the internet is true. Now, you are paying for essentially their credit card fee, which is what a lot of people will tell you, but they are legally supposed to put it everywhere that you will be charged a 3% fee for the credit card and that you can ask to have it removed. Also, you have the option to pay with cash, so absolutely they cannot charge you if you decide to pay with cash or an alternate form where they're not going to get charged a fee. So they cannot force you to pay that fee, and everything that I found is that that is in fact the case. Okay, this final clip that we're gonna watch is from Miami. This guy says it's a Miami scam. It happens everywhere, so you have to be careful. He's just saying it happens a lot in Miami. It definitely happens in Miami for sure, in Key West, but also in California and New York. And when you see this one, if you don't understand it, comment below, but I'll try to wrap up his little explanation at the end of the video. Let's check it out.
On to the Miami restaurant scam. Let me tell you, this is what they do. So if you go to one of these South Beach restaurants, say you're a tourist from out of town, you're just sitting and having a meal, you don't know that they automatically charge a 20% gratuity, which a lot of these restaurants do. So say you get the check, you don't really notice that there's a gratuity on there, and you throw it on your card, you're not thinking anything of it. Like, you know, you're on vacation, you're chilling, you're having a good time. So when they bring back the credit card receipt, after they have run your card, they will not bring back the original itemized check. So you do not see that gratuity has already been added on that check, and you actually add gratuity onto your credit card receipt. So you're literally not tipping 20% or 15% or whatever it is that you tip. I hope you tip 20% plus and not 15%, and I hope you're not cheap like that. But you're tipping double, so you end up tipping 30 to 40%. Every restaurant on South Beach, particularly on Ocean Drive, runs that scam. I was dining with a friend that was actually from overseas, and when I pointed that out to him, he was livid because he did not know. So that is one Miami restaurant scam to avoid.
Yeah, and here's the thing with that. Those places are expensive. You're talking about getting a lunch with like 2 Cuban sandwiches with sides and two sodas or teas or lemonades, and then maybe you both want a beer or a margarita, and all of a sudden you're looking at a lunch tab of $120, $140. Your Cuban sandwich with pickles and potato salad is $25, so you both get that and it's $50. Your drinks are $4, $5 a piece, so now you're at $60, and your margaritas were $15 a piece, that's $30, so you're at $90, and then they add the tax on there, you know, our 7-8% tax on $90 is, you know, another $6 or $7. All of a sudden you're at $100 pretty quick, and now you got to tip them 20%, so you're at $120 lunch, and if they hit you with that and then you tip them another 20, you just spent $140, they're getting an extra $20 out of you because stuff's expensive in Miami. Trust me, South Beach. I haven't been there since before the pandemic, but the COVID thing. But I can tell you that it is super expensive down on South Beach, and it's why a lot of people don't go there anymore, except the rich community, the little 1%ers. But anyhow, that's a scam. It's a scam to put the 20% auto onto your check and get you to do it and then bring it back out and expect that you pay another check, and it's not illegal, but it's deceptive. And I just describe anything that's deceptive as a scam. Now you got to pay attention. You got to make sure that you are seeing that they're auto charging you that 20% automatically and that you don't do it again. Let everybody at your table know that. And also, if you go out drinking, this is where they really get people. They have a lot of bars. Obviously, it's South Beach, a lot of nightclubs, a lot of restaurants where people go day drinking, beach, the heat. The sun here in Florida is 100 degrees, especially during the summer, 110. And they expect people are going to have a couple of drinks, couple margaritas. All of a sudden, before you know it, you've drank $100, $125 worth of drinks, and they can get you because you're not thinking on your feet. You're not as quick, even if you're not drunk, you're just a little buzzed or a little tipsy because you're walking to your hotel. They're still going to get you because you're just not at the top of your game when you have a few drinks, right? That's why you gotta be on a swivel, or you gotta have somebody who is the DD, not just the DD, but also paying attention to everything that everyone is doing, protecting phones and wallets, check what you're tipping and tabbing and walking and where you're going and not falling into lakes and drowning like we've seen some of these stories of people, you know, the kid in Nashville, sadly. This happened to us at our local lagoon actually a week ago. We had been out in the hot sun and we'd only had a couple drinks, but it was enough to kind of give us a little bit of a buzz. And we were like, woo, we feel it. Like, let's wrap it up. Let's get the tab. Let's go. We had an expectation of what our tab was going to be, whatever it was, 40 bucks, 50 bucks, just a few drinks. And we actually got a tab that was like 120 or something, like 130. I couldn't remember. I'm like, whoa, we didn't drink all this, guys. Like, we know better. We're residents. We get discounts, 20%. We get $3 beers. There's no way we would have had to been here drinking with 10 people. And so he looked, he goes, there's a bottle of champagne on your tab for $70 or whatever it was. I'm like, bottle of champagne? First of all, I don't drink champagne. Nobody here drinks champagne. And we definitely didn't have champagne. And I don't remember the Lagoon. It turns out they do have champagne, but I didn't even know our Lagoon had champagne. They serve mimosas. I should have known that. But yeah, they had just randomly put a bottle of champagne. Now, our bartenders love us. We tip them to death. They make a living off of us. They go to college off of us. I don't think they tried to scam me by putting a $70 bottle of champagne on my tab on accident. What I believe is somebody just accidentally hit a button, or maybe somebody else down the line somewhere in the bar ordered the bottle, because what you can do to get mimosas is just pay for the whole bottle, and then you can just have all your mimosas. Instead of paying $10 a mimosa, you can buy the bottle for 70 bucks, and then you can make 15 or 20 of them. And that's probably what happened, and somebody accidentally put it on mine, clicked the wrong button, because nobody would ever at that Lagoon try to scam me like that, because the Lagoon's gonna get the $70. They'll get extra tip, because I might tip a little higher, because my tab's higher, but they're not gonna do that, because when I find out, there's big trouble. And I always keep the receipts. I shove them in my pockets as we leave, and I check them later. If I've been drinking, I'm not thinking clearly, I will shove them in my pocket, and when we get back later, I will examine the tab and go, whoa. And I've had to call them out on something where I'm like, guys, look, like you rang up 27 vodka Red Bulls, and nobody here drinks Red Bull, and the one person that did was our friend who had one. So come on, guys, like, let's be serious. Let's play back the cameras, and they immediately take care of it. But this was just one of those things, like, even if it's not a purposeful scam, where you have to be careful, you have to monitor your checks and your tabs and make sure you are getting what you got, make sure you're drinking what you drank, try to keep track of it, and have somebody who's looking over you, have somebody who's paying attention and counting and ringing up right. And these companies are just getting desperate as the people are. And sad to say, they're all trying to just separate people from money. That's the scam in today's. There's no specific scam. The scam is, how can I take what is in front of me, the people in front of me, and get the money from them and move it to me? I'm trying to move money from point A to point B, however it is. A tip scam, a fraud scam, a phishing scam, a debit card scam, whatever it is. That's just the way the world works right now, and it's sad. Unfortunately, the honesty has been out the door for a long time, but hopefully I appreciate you watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and it means a lot to me that you check them out in addition to all my other videos. And also, it helps educate you and helps you learn what to be on the lookout for and to protect yourself and to watch for all these things that are going on. I appreciate your opinions in the comment section. If you could, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Come back to watch future videos, and check out all of my links down in the description box. There's a ton of good ones, links to everything that I cover here on the channel. And until next time, I will see everyone later.